How are you guys? Good? Yeah? How are you guys? Good? Are we
Great.
ready? All righty. My name is Dina Saudi. I am the co-founder of Seven Circles, an investments and consulting firm, and Empowering Through, a social enterprise, and recently Miswadde, technology arm and consulting firm that does a whole lot of work on data. So we're all about impact here, and I think that's why we're all having this conversation. But I just want to say that what interesting times, huh? Talk about impact, talk about innovation, talk about being in the heart of many, many things that are happening. So I'm just going to tell you a bit more about my story. I was born and raised in Jordan, right here in this beautiful country. Ended up in San Francisco when I was 17, lived there for 10 years, Chicago for 5. So I was there when the world started in technology 20 years ago, when Hotmail was cool. I know, right? I'm sorry if I already bored you. But I think that's the point, right? That we have seen so much, learned so much, and yet the world remains, unfortunately, not very safe for everybody, hungry, no access to shelter, not enough education or access to education, and many other issues. So the conversation today will be my fantastic friends and family, with the hope that we together come up with fantastic solutions, or maybe the attempt to have solutions to make this world a better place for everybody here. So I'll start with everybody introducing themselves, and then we'll take deeper dives. So Professor, please, نبلش معك دكتور.
Good evening, everyone. I am Ashraf. I work as an associate professor at the University of Jordan School of Business. I am on the board of the ISF, which is the Jordan largest fund of funds. And this is a venture between the Central Bank of Jordan and the World Bank. I also do a lot of stuff, so maybe we'll talk about them when we go on. So,
No, you're a professor of what exactly?
Technology, economics, and policy.
Okay.
So, yeah.
We'll take deeper dives soon.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Lana, otherwise known as my classmate, if anybody's interested to know our age. I'm joking, please.
La, better not. But hi, everyone. A pleasure to be here. My name is Lana Ghanem. I'm the managing director of Hikma Ventures. Just, to take a step back, born and raised in Amman, did my undergrad in Montreal, did 3 years of investment banking in London, did my MBA in the States, and then moved back to Jordan in 2012. And as I mentioned, I'm the managing director of Hikma Ventures, which is the corporate venture capital arm of Hikma Pharmaceuticals. And Hikma Pharmaceuticals, for those of you who don't know, is a global generic manufacturer. The company actually started in Jordan by a Jordanian Palestinian entrepreneur, Mr. Samih Darwazeh, who took the company, to the London Stock Exchange. Revenues right now surpass the 3 billion mark. So it's a true success story out of Jordan. And being a generic pharma company, by nature, I guess, impact is in our DNA, embedded in our DNA. And it's because we actually manufacture affordable medicine. So we improve access to medications and healthcare. And Hikma is also one of the largest employers in Jordan. We employ over 2,000. We have over 2,000 employees in Jordan. And in terms of the venture fund, we established it in 2015 to essentially act as a strategic VC arm for Hikma. We've been investing in up-and-coming startups, planting seeds in early-stage companies globally that are democratizing healthcare and improving access to healthcare. And obviously, creating jobs. And in terms of our mandate, we're an evergreen fund. It's $100 million in size. We invest as early as the seed stage, as late as the Series C. Check size could range from as low as $100,000, as high as $5 million per company per round. And to date, we've invested in 20 companies. One of them is actually in Jordan, At-Tibbi, which I think all of you know. It's a digital health. It's a leading digital health company in the telemedicine space. They obviously create jobs. They've employed a lot of young, talented individuals in Jordan and in the region. And they're also helping solve a lot of the critical problems in healthcare. And being a strategic VC, we also invest abroad, in startups abroad. And part of our mandate is to bring these technologies to our neck of the woods in order to provide, advanced technologies to patients and healthcare providers in Jordan and the region. So
thank you.
That's us.
Yay. All right, Tirand. Wait. This is your first panel?
Yes.
Whee! So round of applause. Do you know how much courage it takes?
Thank you.
Yes. So yalla Rand. Tell us more
Thank you so
about
much
you.
for having me. I'm so glad to be here, but allow me to introduce myself. My name is Rand Al-Kilani. I'm a senior entrepreneur experience associate at the Endeavor Jordan chapter. So we're based in 43 countries around the world, and I'm really proud to be part of Jordan's. A little background about myself. I was born and raised in Saudi Arabia, and I continued my high school degree here in King's Academy before continuing my undergraduate studies in Switzerland. And I'm super happy to be here about Endeavor. We're an organization for high-impact entrepreneurs such as Al-Tibbi. And many others like Tamatim, NHR, at one point Jawakir, and so on. And I'm really glad to be part of this because not only am I helping them scale their businesses and grow, but they're also giving back to this economy, and they're creating jobs and socially impacting us in the best of ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here tonight. Thank you.
La, wait. Why did I invite you to join the panel? Yalla, Sinan, we're among family. No, we do have to tell.
2 hours ago.
Yes, 2 hours ago. So we had a wonderful person with us, Manaf. I'm so sorry that he's not joining us off Propeller, but he recently had an emergency situation, so he couldn't be with us. So do you know those friends who call you in case there's an emergency? I'm that friend. You want to be my friend, you want to really think about it a lot. Because I took him out of a meeting and said, we really want him here. Sinan is one of those, just to tell you a bit more about him, he doesn't talk much about himself, even though for me, his venture and the company must be known by the world. So now, Sinan, thank you for joining.
I'm the founder and director of Jabal Rahman Publishers. I was born and raised here.
They can't hear you.
Is the voice okay? Okay. Sinan Swiss, founder and director of Jabal Rahman Publishers, born and raised here. And I continue to operate from Amman by choice, though we have lots of other possibilities to operate from somewhere else in the region or outside the region. For Jabal Amman, it's a publishing company. We're focused on content creation, topics related to entrepreneurship, innovation, design. Is the voice still okay? I feel okay now?
Yeah.
Okay. I was saying that Jabal Amman Publisher is an ACE house. It's a company specialized in content creation related to innovation, entrepreneurship, and design. We also create beautiful coffee table books related to Jordan. That's something we're very proud of.
Are you? Especially Empowering Through, right?
Especially working with Dina on some of the books related to the Empowering Through series. But also under the company, we have a digital arm, an edtech component. Our most known product is called Kutubi. Kutubi is a multi-literacy reading platform, currently Arabic, English, and French, and we're expanding into Chinese and German in the coming years, inshallah. It's a gamified platform. We have over 500,000 paying users from across the region and outside the region. And we have schools from over 23 countries, mostly in the region, but also we have schools from outside the region. I'm happy to be here tonight and looking forward for our discussion.
Thank you all. Really, thank you for joining, Sinan. Thank you for being my classmate and still forever friend, Lana. Rand, not new friend, but forever to go.
Thank you.
وأشرف يعني عائلة. Happy family. Many of you are our friends and family. And I want to tell you something that happens, I think, where we're investors and new friends and also old friends are joining right now. So what happens is when you're an investor, you're kind of high up. you're so high up. I was in the Bay Area for the longest time. Lots of the conversation was that they see us as like a, and I feel like entrepreneurs are smiling. Okay, some entrepreneurs are smiling. It's not easy to talk to investors. Like we walk in and like the questions come in, and do we see them as humans? Do we not? I mean, of course here we all do, but just in case we don't, I wanted us to take a deeper dive and see who we are as humans, who we are outside of our professions. So maybe let's start with you again. Ashraf, who are you when you're not the board member of ISSF and professor in all these entities? Tell us more about you on the human side.
This is tough, you know.
Yes.
I was talking to Dina just before a few minutes. I had a new kid this year. So, you know, this is my fourth kid. So this is the best thing happening in life. So being a dad is, you know, the most, you know, rewarding thing in the world. And again, this is what makes me go, you know, I work as a consultant. I am on the boards of also Al Hussein Volunteering Award. I work for many, I have a project, I have a company. I enjoy this stuff, but what I most enjoy actually being a dad. So, and you know, being a dad not only to these kids, but also to my students. So the only thing that makes me wake up in the morning and go back to school is, you know, seeing these kids grow, you know. It's, you cannot imagine how much rewarding when sometimes I see, you know, these guys, you know, grow. Yeah. They call you after like 5 years or 7 years, 10 years, and oh yeah, I did my startup, and you know, I would love if you can recommend me 10 employees. It's amazing. And you can see how these guys are, you know, now creating these jobs. So, yeah, so this is on the personal level, you know, I think, you know, being this, you know, making this impact on these kids is amazing.
Thank you for letting us see you more. Thank you. Lana, anything you want to add outside of what you're doing right now?
I'm a mother of twins, 4-year-old twins. I'm a wife, a sister, a daughter. And I mean, interesting fact, I think something that we, you know, spoke about yesterday, because, you know, you asked me, like, if you weren't at Hikma Ventures, what else, you know, would you do? And it got me to think, and actually once upon a time, I was surprisingly an aspiring filmmaker. And the reason I wanted to become a filmmaker wasn't because I wanted to be the next Steven Spielberg of the Middle East. The reason I wanted to do that was, you know, I wanted to make films and documentaries and, you know, shed light on untold stories about people in countries who live in countries and regions that are currently facing humanitarian crisis and injustice, like Sudan, Congo, and of course Palestine. So for me, you know, it's something that's, you know, close to my heart, and I think in a different life. I mean, I look at people like Farah Nabilsi, and I'm very envious, right? I told her, like, I'm very tempted to take a sabbatical and, like, go and work with her on her next movie. So, yeah.
Did you guys hear her? We'll be doing that soon. Okay, moving on. Sorry, Hikma. No, I'm joking. I love that, Lana. And it's really good just to take a moment and just to reflect back on that. You now will see them differently. They were just 2 seconds ago on the board of ISSF. Really, I'm saying the managing director of Hikma Pharmaceuticals, that's a very high up $100 million fund. And then all of a sudden, you want to be a filmmaker? We got this. Like, we can speak with you. Like, we can do this with you. So thank you. Rand.
Okay, so other than being a daughter, sister, and aunt to 2 nieces that I love, like they're my own, I kind of... like, I'm on the same level as Lana because I'm a storyteller myself, and I really enjoy storytelling, whether it's content creation or just kind of getting those ideas out. And I was telling Dina the same thing yesterday, that if I wasn't in my current career at Endeavor, I just feel like in our generation specifically, with social media and the technology that we grew up with, it's really hard not to see myself doing my own thing. So definitely, I love to start projects. They don't really go any place, but I'm proud of that, to be honest. I love to fail. I hate to say it, but I love to fail because I keep learning new things and growing from that, from one project to another. So that's me in a nutshell, outside my Endeavor position.
Thank you.
I'm involved in
Maybe use the other one.
Yeah.
خلاص. Do you want my microphone? I'll give you mine.
Is it working? No? Yes?
It's working.
Audio?
I
I think it's
working.
working.
So since everyone is saying if they haven't been in what they are doing currently, what their ambition would have been, I would have been an architect or probably a diplomat. But sometimes I ask myself why I've been entrapped, a positive entrapment into what I'm doing currently. But also I'm involved in the society in many other boards or initiatives. I'm on the board of the Design and Build College or school at the German Jordanian University, the School of Linguistics at the Jordan University as well. But also I like hiking, I like camping, I like running, I like painting, which I rarely do.
But he's very talented, in case anybody
I
wants
like gardening. I like working in the garden, planting and taking care of the plants to release a lot of the negative energy that accumulates during the week. So aside from my professional life, this is basically what I like to do.
Thank you. Can I just take a moment and thank you for sharing and how uncommon it is for us to ask such questions in business meetings, right? In a professional sphere, and especially on panels, and how important the world needs today to see us as humans. Not just who we are and what we do in terms of outside, what kind of passports we're holding, or what kind of, no, but actually deep inside, because what is universally connecting all of us is us being humans, dads, gardeners, filmmakers, storytellers, changing the world one human at a time, telling the stories one human at a time, and remembering that ultimately stories do change the world. So a bit more about me, mama of two, a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old. They are very cute, very demanding. I paint. I paint. I mean, sometimes when I have time. I used to cook. I haven't in too long. But what I really want to do these days, I think is, and I do this, and I don't know if it's good to do it or not, but I clean the streets in front of my house sometimes. And it surprises all neighbors, almost as much as it surprises people when I smile when people are angry at me while driving in Amman. I don't know why I do it, but I think on some fundamental level, I promised myself that no matter what happens next, that I'll never forget that I want to be very close to the God who created me and I'm made from love. So I want to spread that, remember it, remind people of it. And I think that's the tone I want to set for all that's coming next. Because I feel like what happens with us sometimes as people, whether we were in the Bay Area for the longest time or in the San Francisco, and we saw global companies talking about innovation and impact, we kind of forget that ultimately, even those in San Francisco are not that different than those in Amman, Jordan, or any other place in this country. We're made of humans with human needs and human issues, and a story we all deserve to talk about and hear without judgment. So with that, I want to talk back about why we're here. What are the lessons learned, and what do you feel like you want to share with our audience, whether they're the fellows or really anybody who's listening? What would you like to share with all of us today?
I don't know. I have many friends here, so.
Me too.
Since we are talking about entrepreneurship and impact, so I think we need to focus more on creating this impact and having this mission. Whenever you see these all inspiring videos and reels, you always see that people were developing these startups based on a passion and a vision for creating an impact. But again, we don't need to be very much derived into just entrepreneurship for the sake of entrepreneurship, or doing social for the sake of social. It's all about impact. It's also about making money. So I always I'm faced with this with these guys who comes with an idea. Like we have this idea for this startup, or they have been doing something, and then but we cannot sustain it. the sustainability is about financial sustainability as well. So, because maybe I'm coming from a business background, I think always that, you know, even whatever we do, it have to be financially sustainable.
Yeah.
So I look at this, I look at my kids and, you know, my students, our startups, and I always think, okay, you need to create an impact, but at the same time, you need to make money to sustain this. So yeah, I would love, like, you know, to keep this in mind while we are doing our initiatives, trying to make, you know, change in this world. It's very lovely, but at the same time, to have it sustainable, we have to think always about financial sustainability along with the impact. So yeah, this is basically.
Can you think of a good company maybe or a startup that is innovative and creating that kind of impact?
Jordanian one?
Yeah.
I used to have this kid, you know.
Yeah.
He used to make these socks, good socks. I think Nermin knows him. I have my friend Nermin there.
Hello.
You know, these guys, you know, I have a lot of friends here, and you know, these guys used to make like these socks, these very, very funky socks, and they used to sell it in cans, small cans, food cans.
Okay.
And these cans, whenever you buy these socks, you are donating one can of food for some guy or underprivileged family in the world. So, and they were very much successful. But again, doing startups, I know that you all should know. It's a full-time job. It's a hard job. So, yeah, they sustained for like 3 years, 5 years, and then the team broke. This is one thing that's always we face in the, you know, startups. Yeah.
So choose your people.
Yeah. But again, there are a lot of examples. But I think social entrepreneurship is still evolving. Still, we are still at least what we preach and teach is still not that enough to make it or to teach these startups how to do really a social startup that can create money and can become sustainable, in spite of donors, in spite of, you know, contributors, in spite of whatever happens. These social startups have to be sustainable.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Lana, what are your thoughts? Lessons learned from all that you've been doing.
I mean, whether you're an investor or an entrepreneur, I guess my message is don't underestimate the, you know, power of chemistry. And by that, I mean, you know, I usually use that analogy. So when, you know, before you invest or before you take money from an investor, obviously there's the diligence period. So investing or taking money is the marriage or, you know, getting married, and the diligence period is the engagement period. So just make sure that you get to know each other properly before you take, you know, money from any investor or invest in a company, because it is a long-term marriage. So make sure that, you know, there is chemistry there. And we have, you know, as Hikma Ventures, passed on opportunities where the product, we love the product, we knew it had potential, but we didn't like the founder, like there was no alignment in values. So always, you know, make sure that your investors have that, you know, same alignment in values. Second of all, you know, something that we're seeing a lot of is kind of, you know, we need to prioritize quality over quantity. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, there are many startups out there. Like if you, in healthcare, we look at the telemedicine sector, wellness and mental health when it comes to, they're crowded. So we'd like to see innovation outside of that. And I think, you know, whether it's governments or investors, they can play a key role because at the end of the day, we can, you know, support a handful of companies that will, you know, be bigger, stronger, and even go global, create jobs locally by, you know, changing our approach as, you know, investors, rather than have and even in terms of grants, right? Rather than have a spray and pray approach, have a more focused approach where we focus on a handful of companies that are solving real problems, not coming up with platforms that are nice to have. You need, you know, must-have platforms that are solving real problems that we are facing in Jordan. And I think by that, eventually it will, you know, trickle down to more jobs, which will, you know, basically enhance and boost the Jordanian economy. and help us become more resilient and self-sufficient. And I guess my third message is with regards to funding in kind of the Jordan startup ecosystem. I'm seeing a lot of resources and funding going towards mainly 3 sectors that are now very established: e-commerce, fintech, and edtech. And selfishly, coming from the world of health tech and healthcare, it only comprises 5% of that. And I'd like to see more companies coming up in the sector and more funding going towards these companies.
Okay, but we're not done with you. Wait, give me 2 good examples of companies. I know I want to hear more that are doing fantastic, that are innovative, using innovation of any sort, innovative technologies that are creating that kind of impact. One that you like in Jordan that you have not invested in yet, and another one outside. What are your thoughts?
Listen, we would have invested, right? So, I mean, we invested in Tibi. That's the short answer.
Okay.
But, I mean, what I like about them is that they have an agile mindset.
Okay.
They started in Jordan as the largest medical, Arabic dictionary in Arabic, and they evolved to become, one of the largest telemedicine companies, right? So, and what they're doing is they know what they know, and they know what they don't know. So in certain aspects where it makes sense to partner with insurance companies and pharma companies, they do that. Where it makes sense to build something in-house, they do that. So they're good at kind of allocating resources in an efficient manner. And yeah, I mean, it's great to see that they've built a company that has kind of a regional mindset versus a local mindset.
I love that. What about globally? What do you think is a good company we should think about and learn more about?
We invested in a company that's based out of San Diego called BioLink. We were early investors in that. They came up with a continuous glucose monitor that's non-invasive. It's painless. Could be used for pediatric, like for children, and it's actually cool for those of you who are diabetic or pre-diabetic, and you use Dexcom or Abbott Libre. You need to connect it with an app on the phone. With BioLink, you just need to kind of just nudge it, and you'll get the color, like that reflects the glucose level in your blood. If it's green, then you're within range. If it's red, then you're hypoglycemic. If it's orange, you're hyperglycemic. So you know what to do without having to use an actual mobile phone. So I think such platforms are needed, for patients to be able to monitor their chronic diseases, especially in places like Jordan.
Okay, can I ask you just a bit more about this company? What about the synergy between the team members, for example? How do you feel like we can learn from the way they talk, the way they think, the way they dream?
Yeah, good question. I think so. The nice thing about this company is that when we invested, it was like 2 postgrads from UC San Diego, young co-founders, and one of them was the CEO. And after a few years, when the company grew, he took a step back. He's now the COO, and he, basically, gave the stage to someone else, an external CEO, to come in and help him with fundraising, etc. So that shows a lot of maturity, right? Like, don't, basically have that sense of attachment to be, at the helm if you're a founder. Sometimes it's better to take that step back and leave it to someone else because, at the end of the day, you want your baby to grow.
I love that.
So, yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. We have a lot to learn, the world, from that statement. Thank you so much. Rand, I hope your microphone is working. In case it's not, we're going to give you Ashraf's or mine. But Rand, please share your lessons.
Okay, I think my lesson would be that impact and innovation, they're not mutually exclusive, so they go hand in hand. That's like something I really learned with my experience at Endeavor. I feel like the most successful businesses create value are not just profit-based, so it's something that they're giving back to the communities, something that they can continue to create value in throughout their entrepreneurial journey, let's say. And last but not least, is that I always say that Jordan is such a great, has such great talent pool. I'm sure all of us have opportunities to go elsewhere or have different passports or have studied somewhere else, but we're all back in the same room for a reason. And I feel like just giving back to the community, being part of this ecosystem, continuing to support and grow together, having investment opportunities really does give us that local and global impact that we're looking for, whether it's through our entrepreneurs or through our ecosystems or through our investors and VCs. So this is something definitely I'm really adamant about, and I feel like we could make that change all together, and that's it.
لا Rand, we're not letting you go just
بعرف.
yet. No. Okay, Rand, Endeavor is doing really well. Thank you for all the work that you are doing in the ecosystem and globally.
Thank you.
For a lot of companies globally, right?
Of course.
But I want to learn more about your most interesting, the companies that affected you the most and why. One in Jordan, please, and one globally with the Endeavor. Is it called the Endeavor Network or
yeah,
team?
the Endeavor
Okay.
Network, yes.
Right? Yes, please.
So locally, I can't really pinpoint on one entrepreneur because they're honestly all amazing and they're all have great stories. But we just have this event called Raw. It's an Endeavor exclusive event, and it's something where the entrepreneurs kind of open up to each other with all their challenges, the good, the bad, and the ugly during their entrepreneurial journey. So we've had a few, let's say 4 or 5 since then, but the one that really impacted me the most, and that's why I would choose this company, was Tamatem. Hussam Hamo is a great founder, so is Iyad, but they really went through a lot. They had a lot of hurdles through their entrepreneurial journey, and it really kind of impacted me, and it kind of showed me the good and the bad and the ugly of being entrepreneurs. So I would definitely pick Tamatem as that company for myself.
Tell us more about Tamatem. What do Tamatem do?
So Tamatem, I'm not sure if you all know, but they're like a gaming platform, and they translate from English to Arabic content on their games. They are great founders. They have a great team behind them. They're super innovative. They're based in Business Park. If anyone wants to stop by and say hello, I'm sure they're happy to have you. And I actually love their storytelling and their content. I think their content and their content creation during their storytelling really does bring in the audience for them. And I think that plays a big role, as well as I know they're registered elsewhere, but they were founded and they were headquartered in Jordan. They are headquartered in Jordan, and that is really impactful to the ecosystem. I can guarantee that they've had different opportunities from
Sorry, technical difficulties. I think so. Sorry, Rand.
لا عادي.
Okay.
from different places, but they're still based here with their headquarters. So that to me is also a great feature for them.
We're not letting you go. We need an international one, please.
For an international company, there's a lot to mention, and we have obviously unicorns within our network, so they've reached the 1 billion valuation and up. But I spoke recently to a founder as well from these ecosystem events. His name is Martin Roland. He's actually a German founder, but started a company called Bali. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. It's based out of Iraq. So it's a bit crazy when you think about it as a German opening this company in Iraq, and he's booming in Iraq. I would choose him because Iraq is not an easy region as well. It's super difficult to start there. It is a blue ocean. They're kind of back with the infrastructure and ecosystem, but he was able to boom there. As a person, he's great, and he just entered the Endeavor Network through the UAE office. So it just shows how global something can be, but how much you can give back regionally and locally.
Thank you so much. Okay, Sinan. Sinan, you have a company that today operates in more than 35 markets, correct? Is teaching 23?
23, we have schools or B2B business,
Yeah.
but B2C we have over 45 countries.
And you started out of this country? You started out of Jordan?
Yeah, of course. And
So-
that's something that I'm truly proud of.
And we are very proud to have you, Jordanian, Yasinan. So I want to just ask you, please, to share your lessons learned, and especially keeping in mind us as investors, as consultants, as professors, as students, as fellows, as humans of Jordan. How can we learn from you so that we can make sure we also have all that we're doing in 23 countries and more?
Okay, thank you, Dina. Maybe I will start first with the 3 points directed towards the entrepreneurs and the startups themselves. Then probably I'll see what I can share towards people working in investment. My first point, simply impact is an integral part of any successful business in 2 ways. First of all, if the business is profitable and doing well, then I believe the business have to give back to the society. That's one dimension. But the other dimension here, for any successful business, impact should be the core of the business, because you find a solution. And if you're finding a solution for an existing problem in the society, then you ensure, in a way or another, that your business will be good or doing well, because you're basically solving an issue that the society wants or the economy needs. So impact is at the core of the business, and the income generation follows after that. So for many startups, before thinking about how to create a successful, financially viable business, think what is the impact that you're making in the society. And then it is possible to build a business around this idea. The second point I'd like to share, I'd like to comment on what Trend said previously, that I like to make mistakes. I think the entrepreneurship journey is a very turbulent one. It will be full of falling, and you should enjoy the process of falling. You should not be fearful of falling. And the more you think that this is a natural thing, part of your journey, and you cope with it, you can achieve better results. My third point related to that, the startup journey is not an easy one. You should not surrender easily. You should be determined to continue. Like under Jabal Amman or Kutubi, I'm talking about 3 separate businesses under one company. The 3 businesses wouldn't have existed if I surrendered from the first year, the second year, the third year, the 5th year. Some of these businesses took 5 years to establish themselves to continue. So never, probably in the Western world, they would give a startup 3 years' time to prove if it's successful or not. I think in our region, especially in Jordan, where I believe we're unfortunate to be surrounded with lots of turbulences around our country, that really affects the viability of any business. So the process might be a bit longer, and I would say this is a common point for the startups and for the investors to take into consideration. For the startups, بتكون نفس أطول. So be patient.
You want to take a longer breath.
And be patient and try again. I know that the financial side might be an obstacle for many of these startups. So think creatively where to find resources that can sustain you until the business can prove viable. For the investors' side, I would say take this also into consideration, because it's a very troubled, like if you're operating in some other places in the region or outside, probably you have less number of challenges. And challenges is always a good thing and an opportunity, but probably
I think I'm going to close.
So probably giving startups a little bit of more time to prove if they are successful or not. That's something for investors take into consideration. And another point I would say also to investors, a lot of the innovation is happening outside the formal scene. I mean, the formal scene could be Endeavor, could be Hikmah Ventures, could be, I would say probably Kutubi is an example, and there are lots of many other successful startups and businesses that are proven to be operating and achieving a lot of impact and financially successful that are not part of any of the formal scene that exists in the country. So probably it is a two-way interest from the investor side to look outside the normal circles they look through or in, and also for these startups to put a little bit of more effort probably to market themselves and market their efforts or what they do to the investors.
Thank you. So today, first, thank you all for sharing. But I want to tell you that some among us are struggling a lot, are the ones in government. Their jobs are extremely difficult. It's a very challenging time in Jordan, in the region, in the world. And I have no authority to promote you to being ministers. But since we can learn a lot more from your experiences and say, what if? What if, Professor Ashraf, you were promoted to be the Minister of Education in Jordan? What would you do differently? Or the same.
Before answering that.
Before the same, all respect to all ministers currently working. You're our friends and we love you a lot. Please.
So before going into that, I just want to comment on two things. One, with Sinan. Unfortunately, many of our startups doesn't know the ecosystem. So they go to Ode from the Ministry of Digital Economy and they said, okay, can you please give me like 50,000 as a grant? It doesn't happen like that. They don't know Hikmah Ventures. They don't know Endeavor or what Endeavor does. You cannot. So I always face this. So I would urge Sinan, as he said, the startups have to know who is doing what exactly. And this is a huge problem. Sometimes people come to the offices of the ISF and asking for investments. They don't know that our mandate is totally different. This is one thing. The other thing, we need really to understand that each one is doing what in the ecosystem and who should I approach? The other thing I would go to...
Actually, can I just interrupt you for a second? I'm
sure.
sorry to do that.
Yeah.
But out of curiosity, do you think the Minister of Education should also be making sure that we have a very full learning on our VCs and our companies and what that means
Let
and
me
how
come
to
to the
prepare
Minister
for
of
kids
Education later.
Okay. But out of curiosity, isn't
Yeah,
that
sure.
part of education then?
It is part of the education, but I mean, I would not invest in a guy who doesn't know what is he going to, where is he going? He doesn't do his research.
To ask good questions?
Yeah, he should do his research now. No, I totally, I will come to the education. Okay. Just a minute.
Take your time.
The second thing...
Dr. Ashraf, may I add something here? Sorry for the interruption. Maybe since the Minister of Entrepreneurship and Digital Economy are here, probably there should be a body here that publishes like a map of all the players or the investment arms and what everybody is doing.
We have TTI, and again, TTI have a great map, and whenever somebody comes to me with we did a mapping for the ecosystem million times in Jordan,
but
at least.
I don't know what is TTI.
TTI is Trips for Innovation, TTI.org, and you can find the map there. And I think also there is Startup Joe, which we funded from the ISF, which have also a map. So, but this exactly, Sinan, we should get from our comfort zone and do our research.
Okay, what else?
So this is one thing. The other thing I would go to Lana, what she said, okay, most of the startups are always looking for investments. If they don't know if they want this investment or not. So this is also another issue.
Yeah.
Guys, she said a very, very, very wise thing. This is a marriage. This is really a marriage. So you need to understand fully where are you heading. So This is thing. This is the second thing. Just to comment on
You're already a minister, by the way.
The minister is a close.
Already.
He's actually he was my professor. You know, he was our university president, Dr. Azmi.
Okay.
He's doing a great job, and I think most of the guys are doing their best. As you said, it's a very, very tough time during these times.
It really is.
But again, I don't think that the Minister of Education can do anything alone, because these bylaws and regulations, it's a very complex, and you can see it in the investment world. These are let's say intersectional stuff. So we cannot and the ministry is changing now. It's becoming the Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development. So there is a plan to merge the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education, and the skills development, all these stuff to come together. I think the whole idea of education and learning is totally changing. It's totally different. Now, I cannot find an excuse for any guy. My students knows much better than me. So I think we need to change the whole way that we are doing things. We are not lecturers anymore. We are not transferring knowledge anymore. Information like before. It's more about experience. It's more about lifelong learning. And again, this is one part. The other part is working with the educators. Can you imagine that I am a professor who have never, ever started a business. And then I'm teaching entrepreneurship? This would be ridiculous. Or I am a professor of finance and I have never, ever worked for a bank or an investment arm or whatever. Or vice versa, So this is, preaching without having been there is an issue. Hands-on experience is an issue. I think it's not an easy question to answer, but I think we need to think about, it's not about also the future skills. The WEF have been since, I think, 2016 talking about the future skills that are needed. They are needed, they are there. But I think the world is fast changing, much faster than we are prepared for. So I think what we need to focus on how we prepare people for lifelong learning, how to excel and to be different. And to be, it's not about education in the formal way that we have been doing. It's not about having a PhD or having a master's. It's not about, getting just a certificate. It's about these skills that can, make you live, make you money. So I think we need to change the whole process. So we are talking about the students have a role, professors have a role, also the institutions, the
It's okay. Technical difficulties today. It's okay. We'll work on that. Do you want my mic? This is what happens when they have comments back and forth on panels. They show you the kindness of the Jordanian people.
Okay. So it's and again it's about integrating. The Ministry of Digital Economy is working now, and entrepreneurship is working also on a very important project, the YTJ, which also intersects with the education. So it's about intersections. It's about having, rethinking and revolutionizing the way of education, teaching. And I think this is not an easy job at all. I think it's also it cannot happen. Maybe we can be like, a little bit, aggressive. I would change the whole system but this will create a lot of buzz in Jordan. So, but yeah, I think sometimes we need to work on our professors, our bylaws. There are a lot of inefficiencies in the system. We need to think more about these guys have much more knowledge than us. We need to capitalize on this one. So yeah, this is basically what we can do, I think.
Thank you. To our Minister of Health. No, beside you.
First of all, I want to say that I've had the pleasure of meeting His Excellency Dr. Firas Al-Hawari. He's a progressive thinker, so I think we're in safe hands. And I really applaud the work that they've been doing, that the team has been doing in terms of upgrading our capabilities given the limited resources that we have, and especially the work that they're doing in developing the virtual hospital. Just kind of a bit of stats on Jordan. So on the positive side, we have a young tech-savvy population. 70% of the population is under the age of 30. Internet penetration is around 91%. But on the flip side, we have a high rate of unemployment, especially in certain professions and sectors. So, for example, when it comes to pharmacists, the unemployment rate is close to 30%. We have 3,500 doctors that graduate every year, out of which only 1,200 end up finding jobs in the public and the private sectors. Actually, that's a funny fact. 1 in every 40 Jordanians is an engineer. So that makes Jordan the country with the highest number of engineers per capita globally. So, I mean, that's a very, I found
a great question.
Very interesting fact. And now, on kind of the healthcare end of things, we have 1.5 beds for every 1,000 people, which is below the average of 2.7 beds per 1,000. And we also have a high incidence of chronic diseases like diabetes, which affects around, and pre-diabetes, which affect around 20-25% of the population. And we have a high incidence of obesity as well. So many challenges, and obviously there is no one solution that kind of fits all. However, I think using technology could help us, reduce, some of these problems and face these challenges. So, as a Minister of Health, and I think they're already doing a lot when it comes to that. One of the things I would do is to give incentives to local companies that are working on telemedicine solutions, AI solutions, when it comes to platforms that help patients and the population manage their chronic diseases, because there are many comorbidities. One, a company that I mentioned, is BioLink. They're, working on kind of a device, so it enables you to be more informed about your glucose level and to be able to manage your disease. Telemedicine platforms reduce the strain on hospitals and enable patients to see doctors from the comfort of their homes. That's one, part when it comes to local, incentivizing local startups. And I would also incentivize global organizations to come to Jordan, open offices, research offices, and act as the bridge between East and West, so that there is knowledge transfer. Doctor, you just mentioned that it's frustrating that sometimes, entrepreneurs, they don't do their homework. Like something as simple as a Google search. You can only imagine the number of companies that, we get entrepreneurs that come to our office and tell us about, a solution and adherence that will revolutionize the industry. Like a Google search, a simple Google search would have enabled them to see that there are 100 companies doing this in Europe, in the US, and even, sometimes in MENA. So, it's the basic minimum that we're asking for, right? Yeah. Like just, to basically do one's homework. And, by incentivizing global organizations to come here, and startups to also, obviously grow their businesses in these fields like AI, and when it comes to healthcare, data analytics, and telemedicine, we'll be able to create jobs for these physicians or doctors, pharmacists, and engineers who are looking for jobs. So we do have the talent, but we don't have the infrastructure. And I think slowly but surely we'll be able to do that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So the engineers, 1 out of 4 are engineers, but how many of them are working is the question.
1 out of 40.
1 out of 40 are engineers.
Jordanians, yeah.
And how many of them are working? Yeah, those are the kind of questions I'm thinking about. Yeah, it's amazing. And we have a lot of doctors, huh? Wow. So Rand, are you ready? Our Minister of Youth.
Minister of Youth.
I know it's not easy, right?
It's
Like
not
to take
easy.
a moment and to think
Yeah.
about their pressures. So just like a moment, we so appreciate all that you're
Appreciate,
working
of course.
on. So yes, please.
It's not easy, but and I can't put myself in such a position, صراحة. But if I were to go back to my youth, what I felt was lacking for myself would be the kind of opening our minds more for the youth to kind of look further than drilling into your mind. Go study this to work for that company, to be in that position. I don't know why we don't everywhere in the world, not just Jordan specific, but everywhere in the world, we never teach the youngsters, like, what do you want to be your own manager, your own boss, your own founder, your own whatever the case is. It's always, let's work for others, let's kind of dream of these big corporate companies outside, and this is something I would definitely have driven into education specifically. AI is changing the world. We need to like jump on that from the youngest possible age, and just so we're more ready for the real world. I personally feel like there's a lot of things that we lacked when we were young. For example, I didn't even know about entrepreneurship while I was at high school, and when I graduated and I studied a passion I thought was my passion for 4 years, and then I came back to Jordan, got this job offer. I was just like, Ya Allah, basically, why didn't I know about this before? Like, why didn't I know that finance would go into 100 sectors, one of them being VCs, let's say? Why didn't I know that entrepreneurship could go into 100 sectors being AI? Why did we think it was marketing, business, health, and so on? There's so many sectors that we don't know about. There's so much education out there that we don't know about. And I think this is something that we should definitely work on. I know we are currently working on that, and I really appreciate it for the next generation, but definitely not to stop there at all. That would be my opinion, and definitely to like integrate into the minds of the youth of having a mentor throughout your life, whether it's a teacher, whether it's usually not family, like I wouldn't recommend, but just a mentor that's there for you through challenges, whether it's socially, whatever it could be, and definitely driving the internships into the country. Doesn't have to be paid, but during your summer holiday, take that 1 month internship. You never know where it can lead you to in the future, and it could definitely changed. For me, it was that I was working I studied and worked in a career, had an internship where I realized that this was my passion and moved into that career path. So this is something I would definitely drive into the youth.
Thank you so much. So in honor of our good friend, His Excellency Muthanna Gharabe, who was once the Minister of Digital Economy and today is the Minister of Investments. If I butchered the names in English, I'm sorry. So, Sinan, which ministry would you like to handle for this question, and what would you do from your lessons learned? How would you guide them? And please note that our friends are doing an incredible job, and we really have the highest respects to all of them. For all of them.
Dina, you just said His Excellency Muthanna Gharabe was the Minister of Digital Economy, and now he's the Minister of Investment. That means, in a way or another, the two ministries are connected in a way or another. Probably I would say three quick points here. First of all, we have a beautiful slogan in the history of Jordan, which helped shape my childhood and my career afterwards, which is Al-Insan Aghla Ma Namluk. I don't know how can we put this in a beautiful English language.
The human is the highest of what we, is most precious. Because we don't own a human, but our highest priority is for human.
Yeah, if I would
English translation is sometimes hard. Yes.
I would put it as follows: our oil is our human capital. That's some sort of a translation, indirect translation for this statement. Therefore, I believe the biggest investment and the most important investment Jordan can do is basically investing in our human capital. And this have proven to be the most strategic and most important investment that we have done in the history of Jordan. So basically best investment is not the phosphate or the potash or tourism or etc. This all depends on the human capital. If we have the right human capital, we're able to sell our country, we're able to sell our ideas, we're able to sell our services the best way possible. That's why probably education, investment, entrepreneurship are all interconnected in a way or another, where we should never forget that human capital is the base of the best investment that we can do in this country. Probably this is my first point. The second point, Jordan lives in a fortunate and unfortunate context. Naturally, we're connected with the Levant region, but due to the economic challenges faced in the Levant region, we're connected more with the Gulf region for economic reasons. And the Gulf region, due to oil, lives in an accelerated pace. And with AI, like yesterday I returned from London, we attended an important event called BET, which is the largest and most important event for edtech companies all over the world. So all important companies like Google, Microsoft, etc., they launch their latest technologies in terms of hardware and software. With AI, the acceleration that have happened in the world is incredible, incredible. I cannot believe what's going on. So on one hand, globally, there is an accelerated pace due to the AI, and all the countries and big companies are investing heavily in AI, as we see and hear in the news. On the other hand, we're connected also with the Gulf region, which also lives in an accelerated pace due to the abundance of money resulting from oil. So here, when it comes to our role in Jordan, related from the government standpoint, I think we have to move in an accelerated pace. And that means that also entrepreneurship should not be something to think about when you graduate from university. It should be embedded in the core of our educational system, in the core of our culture, because this is my third point. Jordan, we don't have a history in commerce. Jordan is a new nation. We cannot compare Amman with Aleppo, or Amman with Beirut, or Amman with Damascus. These capitals or these cities have a long history in commerce. If you talk to any person that have a shop in Al-Hamidiyya or Souq Al-Hamidiyya, he would tell you, you know, I inherited this shop from the my grandfather, or my grandfather was working in this industry or in this hirfiyya or san'a. Jordan is a new nation, and this is an advantage, by the way. But we don't have deep roots when it comes to commerce. Amman was not a commercial center. We're trying to create a commercial center in Amman, but we don't have strong roots in commerce. Therefore, I think media, education, and the strategic direction of the country, we have to re-engineer our human capital to think in a more commercial way. I believe in our region, like, you know, we work in EdTech, our top and best competitors are Jordanian companies, or Jordanians, if not operating from Jordan, probably operating from Dubai. In EdTech, Jordan is #1 in the whole region. Do we position ourselves in the right way? No. Because we lack marketing skills, we're not strong in our commerce DNA, so we have to strengthen our positioning in the region and globally. We have to strengthen the commercial side of our DNA, which is still not matured, haven't matured yet, and we're still new in it. Thank you, Dina.
Thank you so much. Can we just take a moment and just clap our hands, because that was a lot, and just bravo. the future of Jordan, Lama, inshallah, and God willing, you all become, hopefully, those in whatever capacity impact.
Okay, I will play the moderator now.
But we don't
I
have
want to
time, we
ask
have
you.
2 questions. Okay,
Yeah,
ask.
I will ask her one question.
Okay.
Dina, tell us about Heroes Jordan.
I will.
Yeah,
Okay, but...
this is very important because of impact.
Okay, so thank you for the space. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to make sure it's very short because I want to take questions from you. And I know many of you, so I want to make sure that it's about the winners who are here in the WIN Fellowship. Thank you for that. So I want to go back. Sinan and I have been working on many books that showcase the stories of the people in Jordan. Alhamdulillah, thank God, the book started right here in this country, impact-driven stories, for example, in the world of cooking or healthy living or art and so forth. Those books have an impact model that's now being taught and replicated in 20 plus countries. It's a great story, social enterprise. We didn't just tell the stories, but we actually also included the government, public sector, private sector, impact models, academia, and so forth, just to make sure we're all talking about it. The stories are going to be highlighted. The Jordan Touring Board out of Virginia, but that was my call yesterday. So we will be making sure that the stories of these women who have been highlighted in Jordan are talked about globally. And then we had the nice comment at some point who said, but you do all of this work offline, why aren't you doing it online? And why aren't we having the entire Jordan nominate their heroes? So we worked on a campaign recently to talk about the heroes of Jordan, inviting the entire country to actually from the Ministry of Education. Our Minister of Education approved us including all the schools right here to talk about their heroes, and it was so beautiful to hear about them. The ceremony is happening soon, thank you. The winners will make you cry. Yeah, thank you. And we have a lot in the health sector, a lot in the youth, and of course, yeah, I love this country, and I think I speak on behalf of all of us that we love it here, and we love it so much. We want the world to know more about our stories, but we also want to know the world too. And we feel like there's a lot to have in common between all of us. So I just want to go, thank you for the space. And thank you for that. Hopefully we will be launching in every Arab country very soon, and very soon as a globally also, because we believe stories are very important, but also the connecting between dots is very important, making sure that we know who's doing what. We do our homework, but also we do our homework to identify and find the underdogs who are the heroes of the world. So speaking about WIN and the fellowship, do you have questions for the panelists? Please, okay, thank you. And please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what, if you're a fellow, what you've done, and then please your question. Do you want a microphone? No, it's okay. We want you to have one so that the people on live stream can hear you. There is a microphone behind you, Dana.
Okay, hi. Thank you guys for your time. This was very insightful. My name is Nadine Abbas, and I'm a co-founder at Kitsch Market. Recently, we pivoted into Kitsch & Co. It's more than a question, actually. It's just like I have to comment on one thing. I like to think of myself as this self-made entrepreneur. I'm an architect, and I used to work in corporate, and I literally had to study my way through in the past 3 years. I've had zero knowledge about business. I didn't know what traction meant, what investment means, any of those, terminologies. I didn't know that map you were talking about. So I had to go through the process step by step. I've done more than 4 prestigious programs that are non-equity based, yet I had to spend on them actually. Some of them are in Jordan, some of them are regional. Each program was 3 to 6 months, and some of them overlapped. And 3 years later, I pivoted into something that's actually now money generating. We used to be in the negative for the first 3 years. Our model did not work for the first, second, and third time until where I am today. And today, now that I need the support, I cannot find it. I know that I've done my homework very well. I've knocked almost every door. I've been portrayed at the German Jordanian University as a success story across 20 years of graduates for what we've been doing. We have a part of social impact in our startup. We support the local food market, yet the support is very limited. And I'm at a critical point. I either succeed and turn into a unicorn, I stay at my place and, you know, die out with time because the market is not supporting. So what do? We're believing in the community. We're trying not to work outside of Jordan because I want to work for Amman, for Jordan in general. But what if I come to a point where I have to just go to another market? Because we cannot find that support, to be honest.
Sure, I have a response, but does anybody want to say something first?
يعطيك العافية.
Yeah.
I can just say from my point, if I can just respond as well. Okay, so I lead on access to markets for the Jordan chapter for all our Jordanian entrepreneurs. Definitely be in Jordan, but to scale, whether you're headquartered in Jordan, headquartered in Saudi, headquartered in UAE, wherever it is, you need to, in order to scale, you need to expand. In order to expand, you need to have access in different markets for your company. And it's not, I know it might sound difficult to leave everything behind, but that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm not saying close the doors of your company, lock it up and move. It's have your foot here and your foot in all these other locations. The region is huge. There's potential everywhere. Some people make it out of Jordan. Some people make it but Jordan and then come back to Jordan. So it's, in order to scale, my experience in accessing of markets, you need to expand.
Yeah, thank you for that. But it's a high-intensive operation startup. It's hard to be in multiple places. I've done my market scan for 3 different Arab countries. It's either there or here. So I know what you're saying, but عندنا operation that's intensive, so we cannot.
Okay, so anybody else would like to say something? No, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Nadine, thank you so much for your comment. Yeah. And thank you for your honesty, which I think speaks on behalf of many entrepreneurs globally, because I've met entrepreneurs in the streets of San Francisco who had big dreams. Honest fact. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody. You know what it makes an entrepreneur? Somebody who smiles, is kind, says this does not work out, let me figure it out. So I'm not challenging that you are not the it person. I'm just saying if your funding didn't start in Jordan, fantastic. Find it wherever you find it and come back home. All I'm saying is don't let anything stop you. Maybe it's not here. Maybe it's somewhere else. Come back home. I lived in the States for 15 years. I operate in 20 plus markets. I can easily live anywhere. I have an American passport, UK passport. I want to be here. This is my home. It feels good, feels right. If it didn't, I wouldn't be here. I want to be as honest, as direct as I can be with you. This is my, what company is it? Well, number 7, 10? I don't even know. I lost count. Do you know how many companies I closed before communicating on stage? Do you know how many sleepless nights and cries of me saying, I am done. I am done, and crying again, and then some tiny mini project happens, and then slowly another door opens. All I'm saying is entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And by the way, all that I own today, all that I have may end tomorrow. This world is so unpredictable. If anybody thinks they're okay, I don't know what world they're living in. Nobody's okay. So you try it again, and I hope I answered you. I hope I'm silencing the noise that tells you, okay, knock on more doors. It's fine. Do whatever you need to do. We want to see you as a world. And this is the first time I hear about you. So now that I know you, I really look forward to meeting you and talking to you more about your extensive operation. But I need to move. Okay, yes. Sinan, I interrupted you out of a meeting. Do whatever you want. Yeah, the microphone is yours. I can't argue. No.
Thank you. I have, Nadine, a very little advice. Sometimes you need to look not only through the institutionalized support. You mentioned that you've done your homework and unfortunately you didn't find the support you're looking for. Don't only think through the institutionalized support. Look through LinkedIn. Don't step there. Through LinkedIn, you will tap into a huge pool of individuals that will be willing to support you or direct you where you can find your support.
So one more thing, again, thank you for your honesty. It's very easy for us to preach as investors, but one thing I noticed is أول إشي, take every single piece of feedback that you've received from whether accelerators, investors, etc. Why aren't they, supporting you? Take that and try to see how you can resolve it. And the other thing that actually worked for some of our early stage entrepreneurs is, there's a lot of consolidation in the sector. I don't know your sector, but sometimes, approaching another entrepreneur that's operating in the region and maybe is a bit bigger, to kind of explore a way maybe to combine your businesses. Maybe they're looking to expand. You'll be their partner in Jordan. These kinds of combinations and like the consolidation is bound to happen eventually. So again, don't know a lot about your sector, but we're seeing this a lot, at least in the healthcare sector, because there are, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is coming up with a telemedicine platform, a wellness platform, etc. So that's what's happening. I don't know how mature the sector is, but maybe also approach potential competitors.
And I want to talk about Palestine for a second. We have a lot of entrepreneurs doing incredible work out of extreme circumstances. I don't know about you, but every time I think I'm going to give up, I look at those incredible humans and people in prison and who've been there, those in extreme circumstances. I see them shine and I say, you know what? As long as I can breathe, as long as I still have a why, I have a heart beating, I am going to do everything I can. And then one day I'll complain up to God. I'll go up and be like, why couldn't have been easier? But until then, I hope we answered you. One more question and then we need to wrap up, please. I'm sorry. I know we're taking so long. So thank you for being patient.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Your name, please.
My name is Rana Al-Hajaya. I am engineer. I was a previous mayor for my city, elected as the only woman in this position long time ago.
Which city?
Al-Hassa city. It's in the southern body of Jordan. And I'm engineer at the same time. I have a small project, actually. I'm working for 5 years to implement it. It's agricultural marketing at the same time. Not only marketing, but also to have a different way of working on this in this sector that I think there's a lot of gaps in the process of entrepreneur in Jordan. And as you said, education and opportunities is one of these challenges, and also the absence of knowledge, and again the cycle of the sponsors or supporters or who are interested. Even though if you are making a good study, as she said, that the idea is so much successful, but there is a lack of those who are interested to put their money inside here in Jordan. Even though I don't agree with you to say that we are not long time in في التجارة, I don't know it in English what's now, in commerce, but shifting there is in the world, in the commerce centers. Okay, every year now we hear about some countries in South Asia who became agents of commerce and agents of different things. So things are becoming different. And Jordan has a very important location that I depend on it a lot on my project on this side. When we are looking at Neom, we are close to Neom, we are close to Agabe, we have the Red Sea. Yes, it will be the new direction for trade, as you know, in the few years in the future. Absolutely. So really, we have a great gap in the issues related to those who are interested in different sectors, want to support and want to finance these very successful projects, and having our studies, and it's already very successful and can't be tested in every way. So we have this unfortunately lack of trust and lack of platform for those. And thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm running out of microphones because they're all dying.
Do you want this one?
No, it's okay. Thank you for your comment. I don't think there was a question there. And I think because of technology, even technology is lying on us. I think it's time to wrap. I think it's intentional. Is it? Is it? So can we just? There are no mics, so Dana, do you need to do it? No. Oh, is it? Okay. I'm going to trust Dana. It's working. So thank you so much. I think we can just take a moment to breathe and think about, your comments are great. I love that you're from that area. I'd love to learn more about your projects. And I think we all have a lot to learn from you in Jordan and elsewhere. Also, the work that you're doing in Neom and Saudi Arabia, our neighbors and friends. So I think as a wrap up, if you guys are okay, I just want to give a comment here and thank you for the amazing conversation, for the honesty, for the truth, for the inspirational comments, but also the appreciation
of where we are. I think it's so hard to be positive and happy and have faith and have all that joy and still continue to wake up, go to bed, doing everything that we need to do under extremely difficult circumstances. So just a second, and this goes to you win fellows who won. Thank you for being here. Thank you for dreaming. Thank you for you won for a reason, but you're also winners in our eyes. So yes, please, let's clap our hands and congratulate you guys. Yes, so as a wrap up, I hope you had fun. I hope this wasn't the typical questions, memorized answers, and you just speak, but you spoke from your heart. You showed us who you are. We got to see you. We got to learn from you. And I hope to God, everybody here did too, but I really hope that this continues to be the narrative of how all of us start communicating with each other. Show your pain. We want to hear your pain. We want to contain your pain. Give us a space to give you ours, but then, my God, let's work towards a solution together, because if we're all crying and complaining, nobody's going anywhere. Really. And today, we need the humans who are willing to smile and fight and do everything we can to live in a better world than this one. So this is by the American Embassy and Jordan Source. I want to learn more about Jordan Source, Dana. I learned that I didn't know enough. But thank you for your time. And now I think we're ready to wrap up, صح? Alhamdulillah. Thank you. Thank you, guys.